The Bloodline 2.0 and the OG Bloodline faced off at Crown Jewel this weekend, and it was about as I expected. It wasn't very interesting, but it was very story focused, which is okay, but doesn't make for a very good match. Let's talk about it in just a little bit more detail. The Bloodline storyline has evolved way further than I ever thought we would make it. After WrestleMania, I didn't expect it to be over, but I didn't expect Solo to be able to carry it to this point. Solo to me has been sort of boring as the tribal chief, but the addition of the Tongans has really propelled the storyline to where it deservedly should be. We even have gotten a little teaser from The Rock in recent weeks for his return for this Bloodline story. Now, removing Cody was the best possible thing for this story, as chasing belts for them is not going to build that story for that ultimate payoff as much as just the feud between the family. This feud has been super interesting as far as the matches go because they're very hit and miss. Some of these matches done in a cinematic way are so good and you can't take your eyes off of them. But others are just boring. They don't make any sense, and there's just a few key spots that you really need to pay attention to, and that's it. And that is the case for this match. It was not very interesting, although it was fun to see Jimmy and Jay working together again and Roman at their side. We still aren't quite sure if they're on the same page. I don't believe they are, as the commentators kept talking about Roman's narcissism and how he has to be the top dog and the one in charge. And Jimmy and Jay are somewhat challenging that, more so Jay than Jimmy, but both of them together nonetheless want to be equals with Roman instead of Roman on top. And as far as the story for this match, that was it. Were they able to work together and defeat the Bloodline 2.0, or would struggle ensue and they not be able to complete the mission? And as we know, they were not able to complete the mission, unfortunately. I think one of the more telling things from this match is at Jey Uso's entrance. If you watch Roman's face, they even show it a couple times on screen. He just isn't enjoying it. He doesn't like it. And if you were willing to work with somebody and willing to be equals with somebody, seeing that style of crowd reaction to your song and you coming out would make you happy. But he was not happy. In fact, he looked extremely repulsed. And I think that's where the separation began. Jimmy and Jay and Roman could never get on the same page in the entire match. And it was evident even when it was time to tag somebody new in. Jey Uso had the opportunity to tag either Jimmy or Roman and chose Jimmy every time. Roman, in fact, did not get into this match until the final couple of minutes, only to lose to Solo. I think the more interesting thing was after the match, they all began to jump Roman, and Jimmy and Jay came to his aid. But the Bloodline 2.0 singled out Jay and put his head in a chair just like they did to Jimmy, and were about to just, I guess Jacob Fatu was just about to take him out. But Sami Zayn saved him. Now, previously we had seen Sami talk to Jay about how could you do this? How could you go back? And so it was a surprise to see Sami come out and try to help any of the members of the OG Bloodline. But all in all, that it ended up being a mess because Sami attempted a move on Solo while they circled him in the ring. At the same time, Roman did, and ended up hitting Roman with a haluva kick while Solo got free. So we're back to square one with the OG Bloodline, it seems. And I'm sure we'll be seeing more come out about this in the coming days. Now, as far as my rating goes, I gave it a 73 out of 100, which is a 3.65 stars. It just wasn't good. It was boring. I had such high expectations for this match, knowing who was involved and what was at stake, and it was boring. It underdelivered. We know that you can do these cinematic story pushing matches and they still be good, but this one was just boring. There wasn't any like fun action until the last 5-ish, 10-ish minutes of the whole segment. Like it was disappointing to say the least. My highs from this match though were seeing Jimmy and Jay work together. Always fun, always fantastic. They've been one of my favorite tag teams since I started watching WWE in the early 2010s. When they came up, I loved them instantly. They were so much fun to watch. And seeing them back together again after so much time apart, it brings some of that nostalgia back, and it brings some of that hope that the tag team division will be just fine. I've worried about the tag team division for a while now, and WWE itself has not pushed the tag team division very well. And seeing them back together, especially if Jay makes the move to SmackDown, I think SmackDown might have one of the better tag team divisions, but that's all depending on how they're booked and how everything works together. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. My low was the fallout after. I understand it's a Saudi show. The Saudis love Sammy because Sammy is Saudi. But I kind of wish he maybe would have stayed out of it. I love Sammy. I love and adore Sami Zayn. He's awesome. He's so good in ring. He's fun to watch. He seems like one of the best guys out there. But I think he should have stayed out of this one. I think he should have just left it alone and maybe talked to Jay on Monday. But it was cool to see him out there with the OG Bloodline, sure. But it was very obvious he didn't fit in anymore. He didn't fit that narrative that they were pushing on the first go around. And it was kind of sad to see him being used in that way. That's all my thoughts about this match. Tomorrow, we will be covering the Women's Tag Team Championship match, so be on the lookout for that. And I will see you in the next one. Peace.